From Homeless to Millionaire, a black man's journey inspired by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Jack Reynolds stood under the flickering street lamp, rain soaking through his thin jacket, feeling the icy sting punch through his skin. The city around him blurred in wet streaks of neon. Taxis honking, footsteps splashing, murmurs of a world moving fast without a care for him. Tonight, the cold felt like a slap to the face. The exclusive private club he'd called his second home just hours ago had thrown him out, expelled. From hero to nobody. One minute, he was shaking hands with New York's tech giants. The next, standing alone on a cracked sidewalk. The weight of betrayal sinking deep. People were whispering, "Did you hear about Jack? How did he mess up this bad? He was supposed to be the future." His chest tightened, breath quick and sharp. That sting ran deeper than the chill in the air. Years ago, Jack had nothing. No home, no name. Just a fierce hunger and a restless mind. Inspired by wild stories of Elon Musk's daring dreams and Donald Trump's ruthless rise, Jack clawed his way out of the shadows. Friends called him a genius, a visionary. But tonight they looked at him like a joke. He wiped raindrops from his eyes. Somehow, against all odds, he had built something real in the tech world. Until tonight. His phone buzzed quietly in his pocket. The screen lit up with a message he hadn't expected. It was from Marcus. That's all it said. Marcus. The name alone sent sparks through Jack's numbness. Marcus, the billionaire everyone both worshipped and feared. The man about to storm the stage upstairs, unveiling a plan that promised to shatter the entire internet. A plan to rewrite the rules, tear down the old guard. Everyone whispered that Marcus's vision could break the chains holding power tight in the hands of a few. But the ledger wasn't clean. Rumors of twisted privacy hacks and moral blur were shadowed beneath the flashy promises. Jack's heart pounded like a drum. The rain clattered louder as if the sky echoed the chaos in his mind. Could he trust Marcus? Could he risk everything? His reputation? His ethics? For something so dangerous, so uncertain? Or should he cling to what little scraps of integrity he had left? His mind reeled back to the secret murmurs that had begun slipping out in hushed tones behind closed doors. A secret so dark, so hidden beneath layers of code and lies, it could flip his entire future upside down, ruin him, or set him free. Jack swallowed hard. Every instinct screamed to run. But the lump in his throat and the fire in his gut told him otherwise. The night air thrummed with tension. All around, night owls, insiders, and strangers moved like shadows, unaware or unwilling to see the storm about to break. Jack's trembling hand fumbled with his phone. Then the screen flashed again. A cryptic string of numbers and letters, impossible to ignore, burning with undisguised urgency. He stared, breath catching, heart racing. The city's noise faded for a second, just like a silence before a scream. What was this? Was it a test? A warning? An invitation? Jack looked up once more at the towering skyline, rain dripping from his chin, questions swirling like thunderclouds overhead. One thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same. What was Marcus really hiding? And how far was Jack willing to go to find the truth or protect a future the world didn't yet understand? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Jack stood there, eyes locked on the flashing screen in his trembling hand. The number scrawled across the black background pulled him in like a magnetic force. Maybe it was a secret code? Maybe it was a key? His heart raced. A wild beast trying to break free. He took a deep breath, less of relief, and more like a desperate grasp for courage. Then, without warning, a loud crash echoed through the street, shattering the rain-soaked night. Blasts exploded from a nearby window, raining shards like glittering stars. Jack jumped, instincts kicking in. The crowd around him gasped, then scattered like startled pigeons. "What the hell?" he muttered, eyes darting toward the source of chaos. From the darkness of the alley emerged a figure, soaked and disheveled, clutching what looked like a laptop, a stark contrast to the sleek world he'd just exited. It was Marcus, but something was wrong. His eyes were wild, pupils wide with fear and purpose. He stumbled forward, chest heaving under the weight of what he carried. "Jack!" he shouted, voice cutting through the rain. "You need to see this!" Jack felt a cold shiver creep down his spine. The urgency in Marcus's voice sent a jolt through him. Instinctively, he took a step closer. What could be so important? What could change everything? "Do you have any idea what this is?" Marcus gasped, thrusting the laptop between them. Jack squinted at the screen. Lines of code flew by like a blur, but something caught his eye. A folder labeled Project Genesis. His breath hitched as he recognized the name. It was whispered in hushed tones, a forbidden project that promised to change the internet forever. "Do you realize what this means?" Jack said, voice barely above a whisper. "Not just the internet," Marcus said, eyes pleading. "It's bigger. It's a tool for manipulation, Jack. A way to control thought, to control lives, and they're after me." In that moment, the weight of the world crashed down on Jack. All his dreams, his ambitions, felt like a house of cards, ready to topple. The glittering allure of tech and fortune faded. This was something else entirely. This was dangerous. He searched Marcus's face, their past entwined like branches of a tree. Could he trust the man who'd propelled him into the spotlight? Outside, the rain pelted down, Eric trying to drown the noise of the chaos. Then, without warning, a loud siren wailed in the distance, growing closer. Jack turned, panic rising like bile. "We need to go, now!" As they clumsily made their way back toward the street, Marcus stumbled, his laptop slipping from his grip. It hit the ground, and with a sickening crack, the screen went black. A surge of desperation coursed through Jack. "No, Marcus, what did you do? It wasn't supposed to work like this," Marcus cried. but fear twisted his voice. Just then, a shadow loomed in the rain. Figures emerged, dark silhouettes against the neon lights of the city. Men in suits, faces obscured. They moved with precision, an ominous force that sliced through the easy rhythm of the night. Oh no! Jack's stomach dropped. He felt it then, the weight of betrayal crashing over him. Was Marcus the monster behind it all? Had he been a pawn in a grand scheme? "Jack!" Marcus shouted, panic breaking in his voice. "We have to—" But it was too late. The figures closed in, eyes glinting with malicious intent. Jack's thoughts raced. Was it a trap? The bloody truth begins to surface. Who could he really trust? What game was Marcus playing? There was a split second where time froze, breath caught, heart racing, everything poised on the edge of a knife. Suddenly, the silence shattered. A single gunshot sparked the night, buzzing through the air, echoing across the street. Panic erupted like fireworks, screams, chaos, and the world tilted on its axis. Jack's heart sank. What the hell had he stepped into? And as darkness enveloped him, he knew this. Nothing would ever be the same. Jack stared at the string of numbers and letters on his phone. His hand trembled. Each pulse of uncertainty thumped in his chest like a warning bell. What had Marcus unleashed? Before he could think, a commotion broke out nearby. People gasped. Jack turned, eyes darting to a gathering in the rain-soaked street. In the dim light, figures milled about, faces contorted in expressions that straddled disbelief and horror. A man lay sprawled on the sidewalk, drenched, face pale against the asphalt. "Call 911!" Someone shouted, but it served only to amplify the chaos. The crowd pressed closer, curiosity winning over fear. Jack pushed through. He needed to see. An urgent tension clung to the air. They had to know. Was this just another accident or something more? As he reached the front, a chill wrapped around him. His heart sank. It was Marcus. No. His voice came out hoarse, jagged like broken glass. He fought the rising tide of panic. Was he too late? He'd only just pondered the man's offer, battling with trust and betrayal. Someone knelt beside Marcus, desperately trying to revive him. A woman pressing her hands against his chest. Jack's stomach twisted. The murmur of the crowd became a deafening roar. Voices intertwining, tinged with desperation. Is he breathing? What happened? Who did this? The rain fell harder, washing away the excitement from earlier, replacing it with something heavy. Dread. Jack's gaze locked on Marcus's still body, the way the world blurred, chaos swirling like it always did. But now, for the first time, Jack felt utterly lost. Then, two figures emerged from the shadows, faces shrouded in darkness. The crowd parted slightly, revealing them as they stepped closer. One pulling out a sleek black phone, snapping images of Marcus. "We need this for the files," the taller one murmured, voice cool. No compassion, just cold calculation. Jack's blood boiled. "Get away from him!" he shouted, charging forward. But the moment he did, he was slammed back, a heavy hand on his shoulder, pinning him in place. "Easy, mate," a stranger grunted. The woman continued to pump Marcus's chest, panic etching deeper lines on her face. Jack's vision narrowed, the world around him fading to a dim haze. He could feel it, a looming darkness threatening to swallow everything whole. Then, the strangest thing happened. As Marcus lay there, lifeless, his phone began to vibrate. The screen lit up, throwing flickering shadows over his pale skin. It was a video call, and even from the angle, Jack could see the name flashing. Adam. Adrenaline surged. Adam? Who the hell was Adam? A sense of urgency twisted in Jack's gut. Get him out of here! He pulled at the stranger's hand gripping his shoulder, but it tightened. Stand down! The man barked, eyes flicking to Marcus. You'll ruin everything! Everything? What the hell did that mean? Jack wrested his arm free. Open the call! We need to... A crack echoed through the air, sharper than thunder. Everything froze. Hands froze. Heart stopped. Someone had fired a gun, and Jack's breath caught. Panic erupted. The crowd scattered like leaves in a storm. The woman screamed, red blooming across her shirt, falling back from Marcus. Jack stood there, heart pounding, mouth agape. What just happened? Did someone just kill him? Jack couldn't wrap his mind around it, but all at once, the stakes had skyrocketed. This was no longer about tech dreams or whispered deals. Now, it was life or death, and the mystery surrounding Marcus deepened. Who was Adam? And why did this call matter? What had Marcus really been involved in? Jack's world felt upside down, twisted by threats he never saw coming. The cold rain dripped into his shoes, but nothing compared to the chill slithering down his spine. The night had changed forever, and he was at the center of it all. Desesperación cloda él. No había más sin irnos, finces huir todo día. Jack stood frozen, his heart racing as chaos erupted around him. Marcus lay lifeless, a sharp reminder that they were knee-deep in something twisted and dangerous. The crowd scattered, voices overlapping in confusion. Amid the chaos, Jack caught a sudden flicker of movement from the shadowy figures that had cornered him. "Get down!" one of them shouted. And before Jack could react, a woman stepped forward, her face pale yet determined. She had a familiar glint in her eye, one he had seen before. It was Mia, his former mentor, the very woman who had once encouraged him to seize his dreams. Mia! Mia! He gasped, recognizing the urgency in her expression. She dove for Marcus, hands shaking, trying to assess his condition. "What's happening? You shouldn't be here!" She looked up, eyes wide. "Neither should you! It's not what you think! Jack, you need to—" Before she could finish, a piercing scream cut through the air. All heads turned as someone shouted. The sound of another gunshot rang out, closer this time. The crowd gasped, bodies jerking back. Jack's instincts kicked in. He grabbed Mia, pulling her to the side of the street. What the hell is going on? He wanted explanations, but time was slipping like sand through his fingers. "They're coming for you, Jack. You and Marcus. You have to trust me." Just as she spoke, a car screeched to a halt nearby, its tires skidding on the slick pavement, doors swinging open. Figures jumped out, dressed in tactical gear, faces obscured. They moved with military precision, one man barking orders towards the gathered crowd. "Stay back, we're securing the area." Panic surged as people stumbled over one another, desperate to escape. Jack held on to Mia, fear coursing through him. Secure the area? What's happening? Why is everyone after Marcus? But before Mia could answer, Jack's phone buzzed violently in his pocket. He yanked it out. The screen lit up again, revealing a new message. Find the key, Jack. It's all connected. His stomach twisted. What key? He muttered. But Mia's eyes darted to the phone as if she'd seen a ghost. Jack, I know what that means. You have to... The tense moment shattered when another shot rang out. This time it hit home. Mia gasped, blood blooming across her shirt. She stumbled back into Jack's arms, eyes wide with shock, disbelief washing over them both. Mia, he screamed, holding her as her body relaxed. No, don't go. Stay with me. Everything froze. The world around him spun, the colors blurring into a dark haze. The men in tactical gear began shouting again, but it felt worlds away. Jack couldn't hear them over the pounding in his chest. Mia glanced up, pain etched across her features. Jack, you're connected. Then her eyes glazed over. Life slipped away beneath the rain, washing her away. Shock, anger, grief, a whirlwind flooding his heart. In that moment, everything changed. Those whispers of betrayal, the confusing games, they all felt like a distant nightmare. Now it was real, heavy, suffocating. The warning in Mia's eyes stirred something deep in Jack. And then a truth echoed in the pit of his stomach, one he could never have seen coming. Mia had known. Get back! One of the men yelled, but it felt hollow. They were all part of this twisted game. Jack was just a pawn in a plan bigger than he could comprehend. The weight of betrayal, heartbreak, and confusion crashed over him. The world shattered into fragments, and as he knelt there in the cold rain with Mia's lifeless body, he realized one painful fact. Trust was a dangerous illusion. What did he have to do now? Who could he rely on? And what was this key that could unlock the madness? Jack felt a fire ignite in his chest. Mixed with dread, there was no going back. He had to find the truth. He had to uncover the darkness weaving through the lives of everyone he once admired. And as he stared into the puddles glistening under the neon lights, he understood the battle had just begun. His every move would be a step further into the shadows. What else could he discover as chaos engulfed him? Jack stood in the rain, staring at the phone in his hand. The screen flickered, numbers scrolling like a cryptic dance. His heart thumped, tension buzzing through his veins. What did it mean? The city felt alive, the pulsing lights, the distant laughter. But here, all he knew was darkness. His thoughts tangled, stretching into a haze where trust and betrayal collided. Then it happened. A shout pierced the night. Jack, get down! Before he could register, a flash blared, a deafening sound that shattered the air. He dropped, instinctively shielding his head. An explosion erupted somewhere nearby, sending debris flying. The force knocked him sideways, sending him tumbling into the cold pavement, pain jolting up his spine. He coughed, gasping, heart racing like a hammer against his chest. Panic rippled through the crowd. A group of people shrieked, assessing the chaos, pointing wildly toward the building-turned-target. A few blocks down, the ground trembled under the weight of fear. What just happened? Jack's mind raced. The numbers on his phone thrummed with urgency. He looked up, finding Marcus stepping into the dark, face pale, eyes wide. Something was wrong. This wasn't just an attack. It felt personal. Suddenly, Jack felt it. A coldness creeping deeper than rain-soaked skin. He remembered whispers, late-night conversations where Marcus hinted at rogue plans. Was this the result of unfinished business? A twisted game of power? Then it came. A figure emerging through the haze, clad in black, face obscured. Jack squinted, breath stuttering in his throat. No! The figure moved swiftly, purposefully, and within seconds, there was another shout. Someone crumpled at the edge of the scene. Jack's heart dropped as he recognized the jacket. It was Marcus's. No, no, no! Jack stumbled to his feet, adrenaline surging through him. He ran toward Marcus, pushing through the chaos and screams. But the world felt slow, heavy. Morris lay on the ground, blood pooling around him, eyes wide with fear. He gasped, struggling to form a word, movement jagged and frantic. Jack knelt beside him, panic mixing with despair. Marcus, hold on! I didn't want it to go like this, he whispered, voice ragged. The weight of those words fell heavily. What do you mean? Jack's mind reeled, confusion tightening his chest. What was happening? You have to stay with me. We can fix this. But Marcus's eyes, once filled with ambition, now flickered with something else. Betrayal? Wasn't he the one to rewrite the rules? To change everything? Then came a haunting silence before Marcus looked up at Jack with an expression that shattered everything. Jack, it was never meant for you. I needed you out of the way. The ground beneath felt like quicksand. Jack's breath caught, shock and confusion battling inside. Was Marcus really the ally he thought he was? Or had it all just been a game? Siren wails grew louder. The sounds of chaos swirled around them. Jack's world spun. Betrayal cut deeper than the rain-soaked chill. Was this the end? And what did Marcus know that could unravel the truth? Jack's hands trembled. The shadows around him tightened like a noose. Questions racing. How could everything turn so dark? What had he walked into? Jack's heart thundered with fear and uncertainty as he processed the shocking twist. This chaos changed everything, and the game was just beginning. Jack's heart raced with uncertainty. The screen glowed brighter as his mind whirled around the implications of those cryptic numbers and letters. Was it a chance to redeem himself, or a trap set by Marcus? He had always respected the line between ambition and ethics. But that line felt like it was slipping away, just like the raindrops tracing paths down his face. Suddenly, a loud crash rang out. A resounding explosion burst from the direction of the private club he'd just been thrown out of. Jack's instincts kicked in. He turned quickly, adrenaline surging. In an instant, chaos erupted. People screamed, and a thick cloud of smoke began to swell, swallowing the street in a cold haze. "Run!" someone shouted, panic gripping the crowd like a vise. Jack stumbled backward, barely finding his footing. He could see it now. A plume of darkness, twisting and rising high into the sky, illuminating the night. Flames flickered, reflecting in the eyes of those around him. He felt that chill again, sharper now, cutting deeper than the rain. As the crowd surged in a frenzy, trying to escape, Jack's gaze darted to the entrance of the club. Was anyone still inside? He remembered the faces of his former colleagues, the glimmer of shared dreams. He took a step toward the chaos, but a rough hand caught his shoulder. "Don't be a fool!" It was a woman, her face twisted in fear. "We have to get out!" But just then, more sirens pierced the air, blending into the growing chaos, and amidst it all, Jack noticed something glimmering on the ground. He bent closer, his heart pounding, and gasped. It was his phone. The screen was cracked, but the message remained. Only now, another alert flashed across the screen. An unexpected video link from Marcus. His breath hitched. Jack clicked it open without thinking. On the screen, Marcus stood before a crowd. His charismatic presence, almost surreal amid the pandemonium. "I'm sorry," he began, his voice steady but heavy with tension. "What you're seeing is not part of the plan. We're taking the power back from them, but they didn't take kindly to it. They're coming for me, and for anyone associated with me." A shiver ran through Jack. He could hardly process the words. A sudden recognition blossomed, igniting a fear he had never known. Was Marcus responsible for this explosion? Could this all be an elaborate ploy? His stomach lurched. The man he admired, the visionary who had inspired him, might be the architect of this chaos. Jack clutched the phone, eyes darting back to the club. People were stumbling, some already engulfed by smoke, others shouting in panic. But just as he turned to face the raging flames again, a hand reached out from the shadows, gripping his arm. "Jack!" It was Marcus, his features eerily calm. "We have to go, now!" Jack's mind raced. Trust? Betrayal? Every instinct screamed to run in the opposite direction. But there was something in Marcus's eyes, something desperate and wild. "What's really going on, Marcus?" Jack demanded, voice shaking. But before Marcus could answer, another explosion rocked the street, sending debris crashing down. The world split into sound and fury. Jack stumbled, the ground shaking beneath him. In that split second, everything he thought he knew shifted, tilting into uncertainty. Caught in the whirlwind of smoke and chaos, Jack felt the weight of choice: to follow the man who could save him, or to unravel the truth that now threatened to consume him whole. What lay ahead was murky. The night had transformed, and so had Jack's life. Everything he believed was on the edge, about to tip into madness. In the chaos, the only clear truth remained: nothing would ever be the same. Jack stared at the screen, his heart pounding. The numbers and letters twisted in his mind, pulling at his curiosity and dread. What did it mean? Could it be a code or a secret? He felt the air turn thick, the rain a muted backdrop to the storm brewing inside him. Just then, a commotion erupted nearby. A man shouted, his voice cracking through the night. Jack turned towards it, instincts on high alert. A crowd had gathered around a sleek black car that had skidded to a halt. The passenger door swung open, and before Jack could process what was happening, a figure stumbled out, soaked and panting. "Help! Somebody, please!" The figure yelled. The urgent plea cut through the rain-soaked chaos, freezing Jack in place. Recognition hit him like a punch. It was Marcus. Jack didn't think. He rushed toward the crowd, heart racing. The whispers, the hushed conversations slipped away. All that mattered was getting to Marcus. But just as he reached the edge of the throng, a loud, shattering sound echoed. Glass shattered. People screamed. A gunshot? No, two. Jack's eyes widened as a man appeared from the shadows, a long coat billowing around him, raising a gun. Panic surged through the crowd. Shouts filled the night air. Jack's instincts screamed at him to run. But he couldn't just leave. Get down, he yelled, pushing people to the ground. He ducked low, scrambling behind the safety of a nearby car. He could see Marcus now, wild-eyed and desperate, pulling at his hair like the world was closing in. Jack's breath quickened. What the hell was happening? Then he saw it, a flash of a badge. The man in the coat wasn't just a stranger. He was a cop. An undercover cop with a dark purpose. The pieces started to click. Marcus wasn't just unveiling a groundbreaking plan tonight. He was in deep, tangled in something far more sinister than Jack had realized. Damn it, Marcus, Jack whispered under his breath. What secrets was he hiding that would bring this chaos? Rage bubbled up inside him. How could he have looked up to someone who was willing to cross such lines? Get out! Marcus shouted, looking towards Jack, eyes wide with fear. You shouldn't be here! But how could Jack leave now? Before he could decide, gunfire erupted again. The crowd panicked. People surged and screamed. Jack felt a sharp pain shoot through his leg as he stumbled back, eyes wide. A thud echoed. Someone had fallen. The sight of blood mixed with rain washed over him like a wave. Stay back, the cop barked. But it was too late. The crowd was in full rebellion, pushing, shoving. Jack's heart raced as he looked at Marcus. Fear was etched on his face, but regret lingered in his eyes too. What had Jack gotten himself into? Questions buzzed in his mind. Was Marcus the hero he thought he was, or the villain everyone feared? The weight of betrayal settled heavily in his chest. Da-da-da. In that heartbeat, Jack saw it all slip away. His dream, his hopes. Marcus was unraveling. A figure who he thought was a ticket out of darkness was standing on the opposite side, pulling them both into the abyss. Jack struggled to catch his breath, staring at the chaos around him, betrayed by the very idol he aspired to be. A whirlwind of uncertainty engulfed him. When the dust settled, who would be left standing? What had Marcus really been hiding? And how would Jack face the truth that lay ahead? Time ticked on, each moment stretching painfully as the world began to spin out of his control. Jack stood trembling, heart thundering as he kneeled over Mia's lifeless body. The scene around him blurred into chaos. Sirens wailed and shadows screamed in panic. He couldn't comprehend it. One moment, everything was a tangled web of deceit, and the next, he had lost the only person who seemed to truly understand him. Get back, the men in tactical gear barked, but Jack didn't move. Rage boiled inside him, but fear held him rooted. Marcus was on the ground, blood pooling beneath him, torn between loyalty and despair. He couldn't bear to face the truth of it all. Then another sound sliced through the chaos, a crack like thunder, sharp and echoing. Jack's head snapped up, just in time to see a figure stepping from the stroke, moving with purpose. He squinted against the haze. "Marcus!" the figure shouted, voice booming over the clamor. Jack's pulse raced. Was it a friend or foe? As the figure emerged, Jack's heart seized. It was Adam, the enigmatic figure from the past, the man whose very name had sent ripples through the tech world. "You!" Jack shouted, disbelief crashing over him like a tidal wave. But Adam didn't acknowledge him. He knelt beside Marcus, eyes scanning him rapidly. "You messed up, Marcus. You didn't follow the plan." His voice was the sharp edge of ice cutting through the steam of chaos. Jack's stomach twisted. "What plan?" Then, without warning, Adam reached into his coat and pulled out something that glimmered. A small, sleek device, almost innocent in its appearance. He held it above Marcus. "This is the key. It's everything we need." Jack's breath caught. Was this what Mia was talking about? The key to everything? His instinct screamed at him to intervene, to snatch it away. Ah! But before he could process the situation, a figure lunged from the crowd, aiming straight for Adam. A flash of metal gleamed. A knife? Time froze, heart pounding. Jack's breath hitched, eyes wide, as he watched the scene unfold in horrific clarity. Adam turned, just as the figure reached him. A blade cut through the air. "No!" Jack shouted. But it was too late. The knife plunged deep, and suddenly Adam staggered back, eyes wide with shock. Blood streamed from the wound. But something worse happened. The device slipped from Adam's hands, landing with a soft thud on the asphalt. Jack's mind unraveled. The device. The key! His heart raced as he lunged for it. But in that frantic moment, a blast of sound exploded into the air. A gunshot fired. Another shot? Where was it coming from? "Jack!" Marcus's voice broke through, shaky, filled with an urgency that cut through the fog of chaos. "Get the key!" As Jack dove for the device, a sudden weight slammed into him. He was knocked back by a body. Darkness swirled, and he hit the ground hard, knocking the breath from his lungs. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the figure who had attacked Adam now crumple against the concrete, gasping, eyes wide with disbelief. "Who are you?" Jack grunted, pulling himself up to see, but the familiar features struck him with icy realization. It was a friend from the industry, a name he'd once trusted, a face he'd known. Before he could process, another figure emerged through the smoke. The crowd thickened around them, murmurs buzzing like angry bees. Was it the law? Was it more chaos? Heart racing, Jack struggled to see. But then, silence fell. A chilling voice spoke, clear above the noise. "This is all part of the plan." Jack felt the hairs on his arms rise. A voice he hadn't heard in years, a figure he thought was lost. "Jack, it's time to choose." His world spun as everything he thought he knew collapsed. Marcus, Adam, Mia, the layers of his life peeled away to reveal a harrowing truth. He was never just a player. He was the game itself. And as the air crackled with tension, he knew nothing would ever be the same again. The shadows closed in. What lay ahead was an uncertain path, twisted and dark. Jack's heart raced as he understood. The real battle for his future was just beginning. Jack stood there, heart racing, as the echoes of Adam's chilling words hung in the air. Everything felt wrong. It was as if the ground beneath him had twisted into a maze of confusion and deceit. He could barely handle how quickly the darkness of reality was swallowing him whole. Footsteps approached, steady in the chaos, and Jack forced himself to focus. The figure stepped forward, face still obscured by shadows. "It's time to choose, Jack," they declared, voice steady yet low. Before he could gather his thoughts, the stranger's face fell into the light, revealing none other than Mia's brother, Evan. Evan had always been part of the shadows, lingering just outside the spotlight. Jack blinked in disbelief. "Evan, what are you doing here?" Evan's mouth twisted into an unreadable expression. "You have no idea what's at stake, do you?" His eyes searched Jack's, urgency etching lines into his brow. "This is deeper than the tech world. They want control over everything." The words hit Jack like a punch. Control? The pieces swirled in his mind. What's really going on? His voice cracked in the swirling dust of confusion. "Marcus, he made a deal with forces you can't imagine." Evan motioned toward Marcus, who lay gasping on the ground. "And trust me, it's not what it seems. He's not the hero. He's the puppet. He's been selling out his own people." A sharp gasp escaped Jack. Was that true? Everything he had believed shattered, crashing into the cold reality of betrayal. The idol he had looked to, not a genius, but a traitor. "You're lying!" Jack shot back, but the doubt crept in, gnawing at him. "Am I?" Evan challenged, crossing his arms. "He keeps the key, but he plans to use it for himself. This device? It's nothing but a way to shape the world to his whims." Jack's heart sank even further. How could Marcus betray so many? He felt the walls closing in. Just when he thought he could see the truth, a deeper darkness spread. An explosion of sound broke through the fracas once again, and Jack turned, eyes wide with fear. "What now?" he yelled as distant sirens wailed, drowning out logic. Evan gripped Jack's shoulder, a mix of desperation and determination in his eyes. "We need to end this, now. He was never supposed to be caught up in this game." But just then, another explosion erupted nearby, sending everyone scrambling. Pieces of debris rained down, and as they pushed to the ground, Jack spotted the device on the asphalt. It had survived. "Get it!" he shouted, lunging forward. But the moment he reached for it, he felt the world tilt. A blinding flash erupted from the device, as if it sensed Jack's touch. Panic set in. "Jack, no!" Evan screamed, but it was too late. The moment Jack's fingers grazed the device, a shockwave slammed into him. An electric surge like nothing he'd ever felt. It shot through him, leaving him breathless, paralyzed in mid-motion. As darkness crept in, a haunting laugh echoed around him. Jack's vision dimmed, and in that moment of paralysis, he heard whispers, his name falling like raindrops in the air. "Jack!" It echoed again, but in a voice he recognized. Not Marcus, not Mia, but his own mother. "You were never meant to be caught in the middle." Time stood still, and Jack's heart raced. Everything he thought he understood about loyalty, honor, and truth crumbled. How could, he croaked, but the shock held him captive. In that heartbeat, as shadows flickered and reality danced, something snapped. A roar of anger and chaos erupted around him, but Jack found himself caught in a world suspended between the known and the unknown. The weight of everything threatened to drown him. He was woven into a tapestry of lies that went deeper than he could comprehend. And with that, the air thickened, breaths quickened, and the future lay uncertain. One thing was precise, though. He had stepped into a reality that would force him to fight for every ounce of truth. But would he emerge intact? What lay ahead was a maze, tangled and dark. And as the shadows twirled around him, Jack knew he hadn't just made a choice. He had entangled himself in a monstrous web, twisted and all-consuming. What would happen when it unraveled? Jack jolted awake, the world snapping back into focus like a camera lens adjusting. He blinked against the haze of smoke still lingering around him, fear clutching at his heart. Evan's voice echoed in his mind, the urgency of his warning still fresh. He struggled to rise, pain shooting through the remnants of the chaos, but he couldn't let that hold him back. "Jack!" Evan shouted, grabbing his arm. "We need to move, now!" Jack's breath quickened. It was all falling apart. Marcus, Adam, and the chaos that had wrapped around him like a chokehold. He glanced at Marcus, still gasping on the ground, a broken figure beneath the weight of his own choices. Could Jack still reach him? A flicker of pain crossed Marcus's face as he locked eyes with Jack, but the reality was clear. "It's too late for me," he rasped, voice barely rising above a whisper. "You need the key." Jack's heart raced. Despite everything, despite the betrayal, he still felt that urge to save him. "No! We can figure this out together!" But Marcus shook his head, deep regret pooling in those once ambitious eyes. "You have to let go, Jack. Find the truth before it finds you." With that, Marcus fell still. Silence enveloped the street for a moment, hitters laced with disbelief. The shadows lengthened, revealing the harsh brightness of reality. Jack staggered back, the weight of loss crashing down, the man he once idolized gone like smoke. "Let's go!" Evan urged again, pulling Jack sharply from his grief. "We're not safe here!" They pressed onward, the night thick with confusion. Sirens blared in the distance, rising in a chorus of chaos. Jack felt the urgency pulsing through him, each step forward fueled by the need to uncover the truth. The device. The key! It was still out there, lost in the mesh of confusion and betrayal. As they raced through the streets, shadows seemed to follow, whispers of danger lurking just beyond sight. They needed to find Adam, get answers. Jack's mind swirled. He could feel the pieces of the puzzle coming together, but it hurt to see them clearly. Tatecit had intermedado a todos, twistiéndose intenciones como un tazo. But just ahead, he spotted movement. A figure, limping but focused, appeared through the haze. Jack, Evan. It was Adam, bloodied but alive. Jack's heart leaped with hope, even as uncertainty coiled tight in his chest. "Adam!" Jack called out, rushing to him. "What happened?" Adam glanced around nervously, eyes wide with urgency. "I'm not safe. They want me dead. But I have something, the key to stop all of this." Before Jack could react, another explosion rocked the ground beneath them, sending tremors through the air. Panic surged anew, and Jack pulled Adam close, hearing Evan shout in the background for them to keep moving. In that instant, something snapped in Jack. No longer a pawn in someone else's game, he surged with determination. "We'll fight! We'll expose them all!" Adam nodded, pain mingling with a glimmer of hope in his eyes. It wasn't over. Not yet. As they pushed through the smoke and chaos, a new resolve formed. They would do whatever it took to uncover the darkness lurking behind the curtain. Together, they would face the shadows. But as they vanished into the night, one question remained, haunting but unspoken. What would be left of them when the truth finally came to light? The night was far from over, and the urgency pulsed in Jack's veins. He had stumbled onto a path that would drag him through fire, but he was ready. The darkness wouldn't consume him. Not now, not ever. And just like that, everything hung in the balance. You have to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even a second longer to share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.